Hi! Hello, guys!
So, welcome to GMI 6, where we'll be talking about Stella Fantasy. Right, as you can see from the title, will it be the next Genshin Impact?
Hello, guys! Hold up.
So,
I sorry about that, guys. We're back on live.
right, so okay, let me introduce. I'm Gaius, the community lead for PathDAO, and then this is Claire, the marketing person for PathDAO. Right, so yeah, as we mentioned that we are having Stella Fantasy on today to talk whether the game's gonna make it. You guys decide. We just gonna give our opinions and facts. So yeah, let's see the trailer from Stella Fantasy.
Let's take a look at Stella Fantasy today. Okay, we're back. So, what do you guys think about the trailer?
Okay, let us introduce our guest today, which is Skylo, and then yep, let's have him out on stage now. Hi, Skylo.
Hi, hello.
Hey guys, nice meeting y'all. I'm Skylar from the Stella Fantasy team, or you can call me Sky for short. Just want to say I am excited to be here.
That's great. All right, so okay, let's jump into the first question that we really have, right? I think in every game we like to ask, what's the inspiration of you building Stella Fantasy?
Oh, the inspiration behind building Stella Fantasy. Well, one thing I have to say for certain that everyone here at Ring Games share two things in common: a passion for anime and a love for games. We love talking about our favorite anime characters while also discussing new releases or updates to our favorite games. One day we sort of thought together, how about having them both? A game with anime style characters. And then we did the math, adding one idea to another, and one by one, we began to create a fantasy world full of amazing characters, mysterious dangers, and then finally, Stella Fantasy itself.
Right, that's cool. Combining the anime arts and then together with the RPG genre of the games, right? I think RPG is a big hit, especially in the Asia
Yeah,
region, right?
true.
Okay, so we have a very interesting question, right? So you guys are Web3. It's a Web3 game. Stella Fantasy is a Web3 game. So did you
Yeah.
guys like transition from a Web2 game development to a Web3, or your plan has always been on Web3?
Well, as game developers, we always thought it was important to create a great game. But then we also had to think, how can we make the people playing our game, how can we make the gamers keep playing in the long run? Of course, various updates and adding new content would help, but we always wanted something more. It's like having, like for example, in a console game, like having a save file for your favorite game. The more you accomplish in the game, the more valuable the game file itself becomes to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when we added the idea of making our game characters into NFTs so that people can actually own them. So the more gamers play Stella Fantasy, the more valuable their characters become. And if players have characters with real value, wouldn't people enjoy the game for a longer time? With that, we sort of had the idea of putting the Web3 components within Stella Fantasy.
Right, definitely. I definitely agree with you because me myself as a gamer, player ownership was not a thing. Back then, I can spend like $300 or thousands of dollars on a game, but I never get to own the
Yeah,
game because once the server shuts down, that's it. Whatever I've put into the game is just gone to zero. So I think Web3 it's where player ownership really comes in, and I really like games, looking into Web3 because it's a very new space and it's very bold of you guys to even come into this space, right? Really
right,
respect you
right.
guys for that.
Really love the art of all the waifus that you can collect.
Yeah, we do have a lot of beautiful characters. Just a reminder, our global launch is on April 13th.
April 13. Okay.
Right. Make sure you mark it in your calendar, guys. And then follow them on their Twitter, join their Discord, make sure you keep yourself updated. Right. Let's move on to the next question. So when you guys were building Stella Fantasy, what do you want the gamers to feel? And then what is your target audience for your game?
Mm. Well, we actually hoped that people could have the magical experience of roaming the continent of Verania, the Stella Fantasy world. By progressing through their adventure, gamers will meet various beautiful anime characters that will help them with their journey. However, there's also going to be dangers lurking around the outskirts of the entire world. So players will have to be wary of what lies up ahead. We really hope that gamers will be able to feel the excitement of not only just an adventure RPG, but also meeting kawaii characters and whatchamacallit, being part of a really thrilling and entertaining storyline.
Gotcha, gotcha. Will you guys be adding any more characters in the future?
Oh yeah, of course. There's going to be lots. We are planning to have more characters added in as soon as we can, but that's actually what I can say for now because I really don't want to spoil stuff for the people.
Oh my god, we're
Yeah.
almost.
Almost
Yeah, you guys almost got me there.
All right, so
Okay.
it'll be on the timeline, I guess. Okay, we'll stay tuned for that in the future.
Right.
Yep.
So I've heard you talk a lot about anime and waifu, right? So I'm pretty curious what kind of games you grow up playing.
Oh, like me personally, or like the people from? I'm sorry.
You personally, and maybe some of the team members. Is there anything in
Oh.
common in you guys? That's why you guys came together as a team to build Stella Fantasy.
Well, actually, interestingly, I think the right question would be, what kind of games did we not play while we grew up? Like I said, like everyone at Ring Games really loved gaming. So it's whether console or PC, single player, multiplayer, or like those mass MMORPGs. Almost everyone did at least one of them, and they are really into them. Like, well, in a personal scale, I would actually say I prefer adventure games. Getting like really serious with the storyline and trying to find all the secrets that are inside the game, and also the characters. The characters that have really distinctive characteristics that sort of make them feel real people. So the more content that of an adventure game, the more I play and enjoy it overall. So which is why I am hyped for the global launch of Stella Fantasy because, like I said, we have lots of content and lots of things prepared for you gamers, and we really hope that people would share the passion and love of gaming as we do in Ring Games.
Can't wait, definitely. It's like for me myself, I like to play FPS game, but for
Oh.
guys, what was the game?
So okay, I like mass multiplayer online games, especially MMORPG. Because I feel like why do I like this kind of game? I don't really go through the content that much, but I like how the social aspect of it. Like we come together as a guild, 50 person. I'm not sure whether you heard of Ragnarok Online when they first came out
Oh yeah,
for
I've heard that.
Imperium. Just to get the guild together, organize the guild, place them at the correct strategic spot, making sure that they can't break our Imperium. I think that for me that is the what I enjoy the most, and I believe
Oh.
the social aspect it helps a lot to retain your players because people stay because of the people they know, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, recently Ragnarok just launched a new one called Ragnarok Origins. All my friends started playing together, and it feels young again when
It
I was
feels
like 20 years ago.
young. But of course, we're looking forward to how Stella Fantasy is gonna incorporate all the community together. Just to play together and enjoy the game together, just like old times. That's just we just really want to see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so right. So let's say we have our community members here, right? Some of them might not even heard of Stella Fantasy or might not even have a Genshin impact. So how do they get started with Stella Fantasy, and then what would be the user journey be like in Stella Fantasy?
Oh, so like for those who just found about Stella Fantasy, you guys don't have to worry at all because we have a series of game guides as well as content available on our social media platforms. You can check out in-game tips and guides in our Discord, Twitter, and Medium. Also, we have short clips of gameplay as well as characters that you'll meet in the game on our YouTube channel and TikTok. If you have any
YouTube
other
channel and
questions
TikTok.
regarding Yes, exactly. Actually, yeah,
Okay.
we do have a YouTube channel and TikTok with lots of videos that you will enjoy and also be able to enjoy personally if you join Stella Fantasy. Also, if you have any other questions regarding the game regarding the game, feel free to ask in our tavern chat, which is our main Discord chat room, where all of the people and community of Stella Fantasy group get together and discuss about various topics.
All right. You guys can follow them down below
Yeah.
on their Discord.
Yeah,
If you guys have any more questions regarding to the game, you guys just head over to the Discord as well. Or you can ask us right here where we are live.
yeah, definitely. Just drop some questions, right, during the GMS session. One need to be very casual, right? Then you guys can ask questions and we'll try to answer on the spot. I think for now, should we play the video?
Yep.
For,
So just now we baited you guys with like a 15-second short video, right? So since everyone is here, let us show you guys a little bit of the gameplay trailer for Stella Fantasy, guys. Okay, let's take a look.
all right, welcome back. Cool video, right? There's so much gameplay packed into 13 seconds. I'm super excited. Feels just like, I was a big fan of Genshin Impact on how that gameplay is. I forgot genre call. It's like a third-person view, and everybody can see your characters moving around, and you need to maneuver using a crosshair. It's really exciting, and it's pretty easy to learn, but very hard to master. Okay, so Stella Fantasy is such a big game, right? I think it takes very long to develop. So, Skylar, what is the biggest challenge that you guys face, and how did you guys overcome it, and at the end shape Stella Fantasy to what it is today?
Oh, the challenges that we faced. Well, I mean, one of the challenges we had to face while creating Stella Fantasy was actually to make it a high quality, but also a fair equality game. Because like having a game that implements both Web 2 and Web 3 components, it wasn't actually an easy task. Which is why we thought of my tongue is twisted. Which is why we thought of putting importance toward time management in three main aspects in Stella Fantasy: uh, production, crafting, and combat. Players will face strong enemies. This is a fact, but it will also be important to level up their characters to defeat constant waves of enemies and also bosses. But combat, like battling them, is not all of what Stella Fantasy is about, because each player will be in charge of their own frontier town, and how
Sorry,
you
guys.
manage. Hi,
Sorry.
Claire. No, it's
Hi, I'm so sorry. Just a
So,
technical. All good.
so like, where were you? Oh, yeah. Players will be able to manage their frontier town, and how you manage their town is going to put a very big impact on their gameplay. Players will have to produce materials and facilities, craft gear and items, also figure out a way to utilize all of those while thinking of how to level up their characters. All of this will require a lot of time and effort, and those who will manage it will be able to fully grasp the entire game flow of Stella Fantasy itself. So, to make things short, having the most powerful and expensive characters, it's not really going to help you much. Rather, it will be the players who spend the most time and effort playing that will be the best in Stella Fantasy.
Right. So in short, if I get it right, pay to win is not an element of this game, and it's quite free to play friendly. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Okay. So all right. So okay. Let's just ask this, right. So for example, when I first jump to Stella Fantasy, what would the user be able to expect on your first playable release, and what more features would you have that you will add throughout 2023?
Oh, well, during the first playable release, which is once again April 13th, gamers will be able to experience a story with interesting chapters, each of which will tell more about the three characters that they will meet in the beginning: Lapis, Ruby, and Lynette. In addition, more chapters will be included, and also you will be able to explore more of the magical lands of Ruterra. Other features that users can look forward to would be the Abyss Invader, which will focus on competing with others. Users can battle a formidable boss monster and accumulate points to see who's better at facing it. Also, there's going to be a content named Mirage Garden, a new challenge content that will be available, which you guys will have to stay tuned for it though.
Got it. Okay, so I think there's a very interesting question that I saw on the chat, right? Because being Web3, whereby during the Axie Infinity era, play to earn was the biggest hype, and I see a few of them asking, would there be a play to earn mechanics in Stella Fantasy?
Yes, of course, there will definitely be a play to earn mechanics. Yes.
So I think probably that they wouldn't want to share too much detail on that. Maybe we'll move the question for another time.
Yeah, because April 3rd, our first global launch is right around the corner, and the more I talk, the more you guys will, it's gonna be better if you just feel it firsthand.
Right, guys. So you heard it from him. Play the game if you want to know, right?
Play the game if you want to know more.
I'm sorry, but we can say this. I can say this though. The SFTY tokens, the Stella Fantasy tokens that will be used in various contents within the game. We prepared a lot of ways to utilize them so people like gamers will be able to have a much more better experience. And also there's going to be lots of chances in game where you can earn the tokens themselves.
Got it. Okay, so the best way is check out Stella Fantasy's token, XTFY. Hopefully I didn't spell it wrongly. And then, okay, so all our community members, they've been looking forward to this. So we're going to release our secret code 1 for them to input later on to get their loot boxes from our PathPlay platform, right?
There you go, down below, guys.
Stella01. Remember Stella01?
STELLA01.
Okay, so
ready?
Guys, stay tuned for the next one, right? Okay, so the next question. So I know you guys have a game content called Unique Abyss or Abyss Invader. How would this, benefit the game? Does it create kind of a game loop that people will feel engaged and they keep on playing Stella Fantasy?
Well, actually, what's interesting is in the beginning of the GMA, Gaius sort of mentioned having people getting together and a community in the game, especially his fan for him being a big fan of MMORPGs. Just like that, we wanted content that would bring players together, but to compete with each other, and which we sort of thought, what would be the best way to do so? Which gave the other idea. Not only will players be own character NFTs in Stella Fantasy, but what better way is there than to have them show how good they are at using their own NFT characters, especially in battle? So, which is why we brought the Unique Abyss and Abyss Invader contents, special stages and boss battles for players to freely use what they have learned and practiced while playing Stella Fantasy. By ranking and rewarding players based on their performance within those stages, we hope to have our players have a much better gaming experience while also getting special in-game rewards.
Got
Got
it.
it.
Cool. Right. So we have a question from the chat, right? Someone has a early access for 10th of April. Is that only for computer? I mean, his feedback is Stella Fantasy is great. It's a great game. So I think the more question is, the Stella Fantasy has a mobile version.
Oh, well, the global launch that we set is actually only for PC, but that doesn't, we're not saying that it's only going to be PC. We do have plans to release it on mobile, but hopefully we're sort of planning it at the end of this year.
Right. So it'll be on your pipeline of in Stella Fantasy project, huh?
Yep.
All right.
Got it. Okay, so I think we can have one more question. I think this is quite interesting. So the question is Stella Fantasy reaching to Web 2 players that are not interested in Web 3? Meaning that can they fully experience Stella Fantasy without NFTs or tokens?
Well, I sort of mentioned before, players start off with 3 characters, right? These 3 characters are actually non-NFT characters. So, by just focusing on these 3 characters, they will definitely be able to progress in the game. And I guess yes, not to make things short. Yes, you can actually.
That's great.
Also, we're actually now that we think about it, that sort of relates to our objective of actually making the Stella Fantasy game itself. We sort of want to break the whatchamacallit, like the gap. No, we wanted to break the wall between Web 3 and Web 2 games. So, in other words, making things a bit short. Sorry, it's just my tongue's getting twisted today. So, yeah, so in other words, yes, they will definitely be able to play with the game itself.
Got it. Okay. So, for free-to-play players, right? When can they fully experience the whole gameplay, even if they don't have the NFT to play, right? Will they be able to experience somewhat of the full gameplay itself, or do they have to purchase something to proceed?
Well, like I mentioned, we have lots of story content prepared, and so people who actually don't sort of didn't have interest at first in Web3 gaming, they will definitely be able to enjoy the game just with the story itself. But we sort of want our Web2, just the players who sort of thought of just Web2, we sort of want them to also have the opportunity to enjoy Web3 games in a very friendly environment, like a friendly, user-friendly environment.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we don't really have much question on the chat. So we're gonna talk about the Stella Fantasy token, but after we give you this secret code too, so that you guys don't have to look at 2 things and hear 2 things as well. So Stella, the secret code 2 will be Fantasy02, right?
FANTASY 02. Got it, guys? Got it? Coming up. And Dazo.
Okay, so before the talk about token airdrop, let's see whether we can get any more good
Good
questions.
questions by the audiences.
Okay, so I think this one was not asked, right? So what are the PC requirements to actually run the game? I think this one is quite a concern for a lot of gamers because some games doesn't require very high spec, some can be played in a low spec, or they can set it to a low settings, some can go ultra settings. So it tailors throughout the whole spectrum of PC users.
Oh, so the question would be the PC requirements needed for Stella Fantasy, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I really thought because there's gonna it's gonna take some time. Let's just say that if your PC has no problems running Dota 2, then that will be enough for Stella Fantasy.
Okay, that's even better, right? So whoever has been playing Dota 2 and it's fine, so you can play Stella Fantasy. Okay, so let's just move on to the last question I have, and it's also I'm asking on behalf of my committee member. Will there be Stella Fantasy token airdrops that let's say our committee want to get their hands on Stella Fantasy to use the token and stuff like that? Would there be a token airdrop? And also can let us know what does the token has utility in the game?
Actually, interestingly, we are going to have an airdrop. The airdrop's gonna start right after the GMI. When
Yep.
when the GMI ends, that's when the airdrop's that's when it's gonna start, and it's gonna be for a full week until I'm really bad at math, so it's going to be April 13th.
Correct. April 13th.
And you can actually do a lot with Stella Fantasy tokens, like I sort of mentioned a little bit. But to go into a bit more detail, for starters, people can use SFTY tokens to awaken character NFTs, which will not only help increase their growth cap, but they will be able to make their characters stronger and improve the ultimate skill in Stella Fantasy, which would be Stella Strike itself. Not only characters, but you could also benefit by crafting high-grade gear NFTs as well. All gear NFTs can be crafted in Stella Fantasy, each of which will be given random stats. And if you want to strengthen your favorite characters with the best gear and weapons, you will need SFTY tokens. Which is why by hosting an airdrop event, we hope that people will be able to use the tokens. And like a lot of people will be able to use tokens, and the tokens will be a way for people to enjoy more of Stella Fantasy.
That's great. That's great. Guys, if you guys want to join Stella Fantasy and you don't want to spend money first, join the giveaway. So you might have a chance to get some tokens and play the game straight away.
Based on the utility that Skylar just mentioned, if you have some Stella Fantasy token, I'm sure that will help you progress in the game slightly faster, not like overpowering the rest. So keep a lookout on the giveaway details that we will drop in our Discord in like 30 more minutes. And
right after this GMI, just stay tuned for all our social media and you will be able to see how to join and everything.
Yeah. So
follow us on Twitter and follow them on Twitter too.
Right. So before we close this session, we would really like to thank Skylo for being here to, enlighten our community what Stella Fantasy is, what Stella Fantasy has to offer, and what does their token do. Right. Thank you so much, Skylo.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's our pleasure too, because it was actually a great time for us to show what we have prepared, and also we got to meet the wonderful people of the PathDAO community as well.
Shall we roll the trailer one more time so that we'll end this session in style? So goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.